Hello YouTube, how is everyone? I am in the Netherlands and I've just started my next big trip with my pink S1000RR, but I thought before I do anything overly interesting, I know I owe you guys a pinky update because I did post one a few weeks ago. In fact, it wasn't even a few weeks ago, it was a few days ago, and I had to take it down pretty quickly because it was invalidated by the fact that Pinky just threw another spanner into the works. So that's fixed now, and I can give you a more finalised update on the state of my silly pink bike and all the problems and hassle that she has thrown my way. From beautiful Netherlands, I'm near Amsterdam at the moment and I'm just riding around looking at the beach. You can't see it because there's seagrass in the way, but there is sea over there. I'm going to go to another beach. Maybe I can see the sea from a different beach. And while I do that, I will tell you what's been going on with Pinky, because you guys haven't seen Pinky for a little while. It's been nearly 3 months and it's been so last minute getting her sorted that I've come out here without actually doing a little test ride to make sure that she's okay, so I'll get to that in a minute. Why would you take me this way? There was like a perfectly reasonable loop around and you want me to go this way instead. Why? The Netherlands does have tarmac, but for some reason this little bit of the Netherlands is all paved with tiny little slidey stones that are not that bad actually to ride on, but I wouldn't want to do it in the wet. So the last time you guys saw Pinky, she had just ticked over the mileage requirement for her 24,000 mile service. I'm not going up there. It's like a weird church thing. Take me to the actual roads. Like, there's one there. I'm going up that one. So Pinky had just done enough miles to do her 24,000 mile service. I'm on a service plan, which means that I can't just decide to get her serviced when I want to get her serviced. She actually has to fall within BMW specified intervals. So I had to wait to get her to that mileage. So we got back from Iceland, did a little bit of riding around at home, and then she went straight into Barnstormers, and she went into Barnstormers for her 24,000 mile service with a couple of complaints from me. The first one was that her forks were dribbling something juicy, and one of the forks had recently actually been repaired because it had completely ejected all of its fork oil. And so that was fixed, and then we went to Iceland, and while I was in Iceland I noticed that it was still dribbling a little bit, and I'd wipe it off and keep an eye on it, and it was definitely leaking something. And normally on the BMW forks, particularly with this bike, there is like a ring of packing grease that you can always see around the forks, and it does look a little bit suspicious, but BMW will tell you that's normal for up to a certain amount of mileage. It's quite a high mileage, so you just ignore it, you make jokes about it. It's a little bit embarrassing, but it's nothing to worry about, whereas what I was seeing was a little bit more than what I was used to in the way of goopy fork legs. So that was a complaint. Obviously that was going wrong. I noticed that when the weather started to get good, the fans were coming on to cool the bike down, but they weren't doing anything. The bike wasn't cooling down and the fans were staying on. The only thing that was cooling the bike down was going on the motorway or a fast road so that the airflow would cool the bike down. So obviously whatever is in Pinky to cool her down on a hot day was not working, so that was a complaint. And I think that was it from me, but Barnstormers also noticed that there was something leaking in the engine that was fixed on the last service and hadn't held up, so that needed fixing as well. So she was there for a while. The forks were covered by warranty. Corrosion on these bikes generally is covered by warranty, so after a little bit of a wait while the warranty work was being approved, I've got 2 new fork stanchions. So that problem is now gone, and I have some very shiny legs on Pinky. And I was kind of eagerly awaiting for news on the cooling issue. I was expecting maybe like a fan wing was broken or just something, maybe it was a sensor. Like, I've never had anything go wrong in that department on a bike before, so I didn't really know what to expect, but I got a horrendous phone call basically saying, why aren't you giving me my sat-nav? Tell me where to go. Thank you. Yeah, I got a horrible phone call saying that the fins on the bike's oil cooler and radiator had corroded to a point where they weren't letting enough air in, and so the bike couldn't cool itself down, and despite trying to clear it up a bit, it wasn't making enough of a difference, and so the bike needed a new radiator and a new oil cooler. And the quote that I got for that was absolutely horrendous. I sat and pondered over it for a couple days. I thought, like, can I get one second hand? Can I fit it myself? Because the quote that I had was basically, it was going to mean that I couldn't go on this trip. I would have to just hunker down and save money and do nothing for winter. It was going to absolutely wipe me out. I think to a lot of people maybe it wouldn't be that substantial, but I'm self-employed and I don't get a lot of money, so that was going to suck. And while I was trying to figure out whether or not it would be reasonable to replace or fix my own radiator and oil cooler as someone with absolutely no mechanical know-how whatsoever, I could start that chapter of my life and it would be great. It would be the becoming of me. I got a call from Barnstormer saying that they had actually managed to get it covered, so I have got a new radiator and a new cooler, and tremendous gratitude towards my bike dealership for being able to sort that out for me. So that was that. 2 months later, and I don't mind that it was 2 months. Obviously I do get bikes to ride, so I was in no rush to get Pinky back, and I would rather be able to approach these things with a really chill attitude and just say, look, just do it whenever. I'm not fussed. I know that my dealership is very busy, so I was quite happy to do that. So 2 months later, no complaints. I get the bike back, it's all fixed, it's all beautiful, I'm so happy. I ride it home, and then the next time it's coming out is to go back to Barnstormers for an event that they were hosting, and on the way back there I got a warning light saying something wrong with my headlights. And I've had this warning light before. It warns me that there's something wrong with the headlights. There's nothing wrong with the headlights. Barnstormers take a look at it, they confirm there's nothing wrong with the headlights, they get rid of the warning light. Everybody goes about their day. So as I was going to Barnstormers anyway, I said, oh yeah, this thing's happened again, can you fix it for me? And they wheeled it into the garage and they were like, no, actually you do have a problem with your headlights. Now, I don't know what that problem was. As I said, the headlights were working. I could see that they were switched on and emitting light, so I didn't think anything of it, but apparently there was a problem. I will never know what that problem was, but they were like, yeah, needs new headlights. I'm like, are you having a joke? The headlights from BMW cost the same amount as it was going to cost to get the radiators done. So at this point I was like, listen, can I borrow one of your bikes to do this trip? Because I knew I wanted to do this trip, and this trip was coming up. They knew that I had this date in my head that I wanted to leave. So they were like, oh, we'll find out, we'll ask. And the answer was no, because this trip that I'm wanting to do is quite high mileage and it's abroad, and I think their insurance wasn't going to cover it. And then they forwarded my email on to actual BMW, and actual BMW were like, absolutely not. So that was a bit annoying, because I had in my head, I was like, you know what, maybe I could do this trip on a different bike. That would actually be exciting. And I got a little bit hyped up about it. I was like, actually, no, that's good. I could see myself doing that. But never mind. And then again, a couple of days of anxiety waiting to see if the headlights are going to be covered, because again, this is something that's covered by warranty. It wasn't the lights were working, it was something within Pinky's brain, and Pinky's brain components are covered by warranty. So after a little bit of waiting, that got approved, and now Pinky has new headlights. And they were fitted on Saturday, and I wanted to leave on Monday. This trip actually was supposed to go ahead at the beginning of, oh my god, alpacas. This trip was actually supposed to go ahead at the beginning of September, but because Pinky was in the garage, it meant that I had the opportunity to go and do the Suzuki trip, which is in some other videos which are being uploaded at the moment, so you'll be able to see that. So this trip did get delayed basically by 3 weeks, while I was doing other bits and pieces and waiting for Pinky to be ready. So I got Pinky back basically the day that I left, which was Monday. I had a boat booked for the evening. It's my usual evening boat out of New Haven, And I went and picked Pinky up at 5 p.m. that day, and I rode her straight to the ferry port. And then in the morning I rode straight to Amsterdam, which is where I am now, which is where Pinky decided that she wasn't happy still. And maybe she was annoyed that I hadn't spent any money and everything was covered, and she thought that I needed to suffer. So I was sat absent-mindedly staring at my beautiful bike that I love very much, and I noticed that there was some rubber sticking out of the links in her chain. The chain is 8,000 miles old. The chain was replaced in Norway. It's an endurance chain by BMW. I don't know if BMW know what endurance means, which is stupid because BMW should know what endurance means because they make some of the most durable bikes in the world, but they name this chain endurance, and this is not enough enduring to need to replace a chain. And I actually tried this time I looked after it, I got it adjusted, I took it to places while I was away to get it looked at and cleaned properly with proper materials, and still it is failing. And luckily, where I am staying in Amsterdam, I'm staying with my good friend Bob, who owns a bike shop. This is one of those stories that doesn't quite sound believable, but it is. I'm staying with a man who owns a motorcycle repair garage. So I pointed it out to him. I was like, this isn't good. He was like, no, it is not. You probably get a couple of thousand miles out of that, but that isn't gonna last. My choices were get Bob to fix it and hang around here for a couple of days, or keep going and in a couple of thousand miles where Bob predicts that the chain will fail, stop in at, and it will probably land me in Trondheim, which is where I got this chain fitted in the first place, get them to fit a new one. The new chain from Trondheim was like £400, and a chain from Bob is going to be like 150 plus labour. So I am, which one is it? This one, okay. I am hanging out in Amsterdam for a couple of days while I wait for my new chain to arrive. And I'm not getting the BMW Endurance one this time because it isn't very good and it is very expensive. So I've gone for a nice DID one. Very excited to have a chain that Bob says he's managed to do 30,000 miles on, and Bob does even more stupid shit than I do, so Christ. So yeah, I'm in Amsterdam, just killing some time. I'm gonna look at a beach. I'm gonna see if I can find some tasty Dutch food, and then in a couple days we will hit the road. And it's like, it's annoying because every day that I'm not heading north is a day that the weather is getting worse where I would like to be. And I haven't told you guys my plans for this trip yet. I think I might have mentioned it in a video a little while back, but basically what I've done, and I'll talk about this again in another video because I feel like it deserves its own video, is I don't know how far a meter is. I've gotten a boat. I planned the boat the day that I left. I packed the day that I left. I got back from the trip with Suzuki. I had a bit of a lie in the following morning. I filled some bags with some stuff. I booked a boat, I booked my travel insurance, I told my motorcycle insurance bike short that I'm going away and here's a list of countries that I might be in and here's the date that I'm coming back, and then I left. And I'm heading north, even though it's stupid to head north in October because the snow is already coming in, but I kind of want to see it, so that's what I'm doing. In my head I have this rough outline of where I would like to end up. There's no end goal for this one. I just want to get as far north as I can before the weather becomes dangerous and go east. I would like to go through Finland. I've not been to Finland before. And then through the Baltics, so Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and whichever order those three are in, into Poland, and then depending on how much time I've got left once I get to Poland, either go south a little bit further. Originally I wanted to end up in Romania, but because I have left it so late I don't think I'm going to have the time to do that. But wherever I end up, turn around and go home again. I have to be home in November because I have to look after my mum's cats when she goes on holiday, which is a ridiculous reason to have to come home, but that's what I have, so that's where I'm at with that. So until the 1st of November I'm just riding around and living my best life. so much as Pinky will let me live my best life. This isn't so bad, this is pretty good. It's a nice day, it's not raining yet, so I'm having a good time. I just came up this road. What are you doing? Where are we going? I just put a beach in. I put a beach into the sat nav and I told it to take me on the wiggly roads. Maybe it thinks that wiggly just means repetition. Who knows? Dumb bike. Anyway, so that is the update. That is how Pinky is. Just getting a nice new chain, and like with my trip around Iceland, I will endeavour to look after this one because I can't afford to keep replacing chains. And I will have to make sure that any crap that ends up on Pinky is washed off immediately because, oh dear, I am not the worst. I am far from the worst with bike maintenance. I'm definitely nowhere near the best. I'm not good, but I do expect things to last a little bit longer than they have. Maybe Iceland is just some kind of weird enigma where if you take a motorcycle to Iceland, it will shit itself. I don't know, because when I talk about these problems, everyone looks at me and they just go, yeah, it's because you went to Iceland. And it's like, really? Is it that bad? But who knows? Not me, I don't know, I just ride. So yeah, that's that. I hope that you guys have enjoyed hearing me rant about my bike. You will get some exciting travel content soon. I will show you this beach actually when I park up so that you can see what I have strived for in riding around. I could go to Amsterdam and get some drugs, but I'd much rather see the sea. I'm very much looking forward to documenting this trip wherever I may end up. I'm glad that I didn't book anything yesterday. I was literally about to start booking Airbnbs and boats and things when I noticed that problem with my chain, so I'm glad that I didn't hit accept on anything because that would have been an absolute nightmare. This is why you don't plan. This is why you don't plan things. This is why you just get on with things and do them and like take each day as it comes, because if you plan stuff and you have a problem, you've got to unplan all of that stuff that you planned, and a lot of the time that means losing money. So this is it. I stand by this. It may be messy, it may be a little bit anxiety inducing, but it works, and it means that you've got as much room for error as you want. So yeah, don't plan stuff, just go and do it. That's my message to you. Or maybe, I don't know, just look after your bikes better, whatever. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. I will see you guys very soon. Goodbye.